going to demonstrate for you some of the most common phrases you may hear and want to use.
Hard wanna be hard.
Generally speaking, you're free till you're about 4 years old. And then 5 around. Then you go to grammar school, and then you start becoming demented and soft and orientated and shoved into areas. You lose what individualism you have. If you have enough, of course, you retain some of it.
A few days later, when the terror caused by the executions had died down, some of the animals remembered, or thought they remembered, that the 6th commandment decreed, "No animal shall kill any other animal." Muriel read the commandment. It ran, "No animal shall kill any other animal without cause."
I don't care. It's still stupid. Once again, if there are any little children here tonight, we've used these words in a sentence.
He had flogged an old horse to death. He starved his cows. He had killed a dog by throwing it into the furnace. Somehow or other, it slipped out of the animal's memory.
No, hold on one sec, gang. One sec. We back. What are we doing today? We are interviewing Burt. Number one, basically almost number one poster on the Discord. Let me see what we got here. Burt. A little late. I'm like 15 minutes late. Where's my sandwich? He's typing. He says we have 45 minutes still. Oh my god, my cats are so loud. It's just ridiculous. Alright gang, so I guess we have to wait 45 minutes. Because I can't tell Australian time. Alright. It's okay, I guess. That's pretty funny. Alright, I guess we're gonna play RuneScape until this goes. Some chill music. Shit. I'm sorry, gang. Fucking called out. I don't think you'd want it, even if I didn't tell you. I just cut the sandwich in half. I don't know what you mean. You got the... I would be pretty mad. Hey, you should subscribe. I mean, follow. So I can get that affiliate. Just throwing it out there. been muted this whole time. I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, I haven't been saying much, but that's pretty funny. I'm really excited for this interview. It's gonna be my last, I think my last TI interview. It'll be finally done. It was an awesome song. It's a really goofy minigame. How are we doing today, chat? What's on your guys' minds? Do you have anything in particular you'd like me to ask the TI today? Damn, Stu smacks hard. Oh, I need to equip this again. Nice. Perfect timing. Sorry to keep you guys waiting so much. I really thought we were going to be doing this at 2 today. That's alright. Stuff happens. I got 1 million here. It's kind of cool. Fishing guilds. No, I need an elemental shield. Hope I can buy that. What do I need again? Elemental shield. Okay, cool. Can buy that. Thank God. Blue d'hide. Blue d'hide chaps. Rune Warhammer. We're going overkill. We're gonna destroy this guy when we see him. Bear bot for safety. And fishing guild. Skills necklace. Wait, what? Oh no. Are you serious? Did I just do all that for literally nothing? Oh my god, that is so stupid. What the... What a bummer. Really? So much prep. Shit. What goes in the trash tab? Catherby. How do you get to Catherby? Camelot? Yeah. Is this where the League shop is? Is it true? Oh yeah, they're there. I didn't like do anything. I had 460 points. I literally didn't earn enough for anything. Yeah, I figured it was gonna be something like that. I don't really care. Do you know why? Because we can just buy this shit. I can't wait to hear from Burt either. I think it's gonna be really sick. I think it's gonna be a sick interview, especially since he's like so active on the Discord and stuff. I'm pretty damn excited. Should be pretty cool. Especially since I don't really know anything about how his experience started. I just know that it exists, you know? We'll see what's up. What you up to? Too cool for school? Anything interesting happened to you today? Organizing my fishing gear. Nice. Going to the lake or going to the ocean? Neither. You wish? Wait, what if I keep all this and I start going for another grind? I was doing this grind where what? TI here. They're launching an Antifa witch hunt in Portland. And I've met a few others. Some didn't even go to a protest or a rally. And just spoke online. They're torturing anyone they identify as a dissident. Really? Sleep deprivation, constant harassment, thousands of death threats following me around, militant jarheads, radiating menace. Well. That's kind of scary. Come join the Discord. And talk about your experience, if you don't mind. I'd love to hear more about it. And why? How do you think they do? How do you think they do that, Josh Anderson? Like, do you think they just do all that through, you know, basically if they can get control of your neurological system, do you think that's basically, how you think they do it? I'm just curious what you think your theory is, you know? No one really knows, right? Could be anything. So I've gotten word from Burt that he's posted this thing on a couple socials, and I think he's gonna be ready to go here pretty soon. Oh my, this is pretty great, guys. Look at this. This is what he posted on the Reddit. It says perps most welcome here. If you can't read that, it's pretty funny. This by the way, Burt, if you're there, it's gonna be 3 p.m. PST. Technically, it's 3 p.m. over here. Interesting. some crazy stuff. I would love to talk to you about your experience and what you've been through and what you feel and how you feel about it. Why don't you try and come on the Discord and we'll see if you can DM me and we can see if we can arrange something where we can have a longer conversation and maybe you can be one of the last TIs that I interview. And basically, no matter what, I'm gonna stop interviewing TIs on the 15th. Because I need to move on. I need to start doing other stuff. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Let's get my ass to 50. Where's the mention? Oh, it's here. I have like my Discord mentions, I have to like super anally hit them all. Alright, chat's getting spicy. Alrighty. Well, starting off strong. Alright, I'm gonna go get a beer. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get this all set up for everybody, okay? Start doing some relaxing mining. And yeah. We're back. Alright, gang. Alright, let's go call up Burt. See if he's ready. Just want to say, everybody, also thank you for getting me to 40 out of 50 followers. We are so very close to getting to the golden 50 followers so that I can finally monetize my Twitch channel. So, just want to say thanks to everybody out there that's made that possible. Alright, let me minimize RuneScape for a little bit. It's probably going to be a pretty intense conversation, so let me make this all tiny. It's probably going to be a good one. Ready when you are. Okay. Why does my add marker button not work? Really weird. Flip copy to keyboard. I don't think that's really how that works either. Alright. Make sure I look pretty for camera. As pretty as I can be.
You there, Will?
I am here.
Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Can you hear me okay? Do I sound alright?
Yep. Yep, pretty good.
Alright. Make sure I get your levels all good. Highly
Test.
anticipated interview here.
Excellent.
Are you gonna be able to share a camera with me or no? You don't have to. I'm just curious.
I could, but it's not gonna really add anything to it.
Okay. Hey, miss. We won't do it then. You see, I'm trying to see if maybe I could get like if I can get your little icon or something for people to look at. That's kind of weird. I'm not gonna do that. Everybody can just stare at my big face. All right, Burt. We we were on the stream yesterday, going over all of the stuff that you have on your link tree, which was thoroughly enjoyable to read. I think you're a pretty good writer. I just thought it was, it was fun. I had a good time while I was reading it.
No, thanks for that.
But something that I think is interesting, I guess, from your account, is that I didn't find anywhere where it mentions like the beginning of your gang stalking, like how that started. It kind of just starts, at basically, I guess you've been, it said you were experiencing it for 14 years or something at that point. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
As soon as my Google document will load so I can start taking notes, why don't we kind of, why don't we talk about that? How old were you when you first started experiencing, here's what I would say. Here's a question. Obviously you didn't, when you first started being targeted, you didn't know you were being targeted, correct? Like, I'm sure weird things were happening to you, but you didn't know you were a targeted individual yet.
I didn't know what a targeted individual was.
Exactly.
I knew I had a target painted on me, but I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know who was involved. I was making guesses and
exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because sometimes when I ask people this question, they start from like when they knew that they were a targeted individual. I'm curious, when did you first start being targeted? How old were you?
It started overtly in 2003. But I believe that I was set up for it years in advance of that, and I'll talk to you about that today.
Yeah, let's get it. Like, how old were you when you first started being targeted? Or when all this first started, I guess. You can take it anywhere you want to go, I guess. Preferably
I would have been
in the beginning, though.
I would have been 34. 2003.
Got you. What happened?
Well, back up a little bit.
Okay.
This would have been at the end of 1999.
Okay.
I was working at a company in North Sydney. I'd been working there for about a year. And this was a couple of months after my gnosis. So I was still spinning out about that, trying to come to terms with everything that I now understood to be true, and pretty much dealing with it by myself. The internet was in its infancy at the time, so the amount of information was sparse.
Right.
I was pretty much on my own. But there is this guy. I'll be naming names today, quite explicitly, so please take notes.
Okay.
A guy started working at the company. His name was Michael Doughton.
D-A-W-T-O-N?
D-A-U-G-H-T-O-N, yes.
Got you. Okay.
He was an English guy. He'd come over to Australia to to immigrate, to work. When I first met the guy, the first seconds of meeting him, he had this look of awe on his face. He was in awe of me. And it really weirded me out. Who am I to you to be treated like that? But it only lasted a second, and I forgot about it and went on and worked and whatever. Didn't remember the incident for years. 4 years later, it was my birthday, April 15th, 2003. Um, Four of us from that company, we'd gone our separate ways, but we were in a band. I played bass and Michael played drums. At the time, I'd been out of work for 6 months. And I was writing music at that point, and was writing some pretty good tunes, in my humble opinion. Having fun, enjoying myself.
Okay.
And then on my birthday, Michael, out of the blue, offers me a job at his new place of work. It's like, fantastic. And yeah, sure. I've been out of work for 6 months. Too right, I want one. And he said, well, it only pays $55 an hour. There's no more money to be had. Don't ask for anything more. It's like, yeah, sweet, no problem. And he repeated that at least 3 times, maybe 4 times. And I started getting a bit miffed with it because, you know, you only have to say it once.
You mean like 55... you kept just being like, it's 55 an hour, it's 55 an hour. I just want to make you sure that you realize it's only 55 an hour. I mean, knowing that that's like a grip of money, right? I mean...
He really underlined that. And you know, it's like, you only have to say it once. I really don't care. 55 is greater than 0. I'll take it. So I started work a few days later. And a few weeks into it, Michael pulls me aside into a room and has a little chat with me and says he spoke with his boss. And they decided they were going to give me an extra $5 an hour, so $60 an hour. I hadn't asked for it. It's like, wow, fantastic. Not only does he get me a job, but he gets me a raise I didn't ask for. So I was on $60 an hour. Fantastic. So everything's going good. We're having band practice and music's happening and the work's happening, and a few months go by. Then out of the blue, Michael announces that he's going to quit the band. It's like, oh. This went over a couple of days. We tried to talk to him and try to understand why he wanted to quit the band. He never gave a reason why. It was just he was going to quit the band, and we tried different scenarios. Well, what if we do this, and what if you do that, and don't have to commit so much to this? And no, he was adamant. He was quitting the band. This was like a Sunday. This was the last band practice that we had, and last effort to get him to reconsider. But his mind was made up. So. Fair enough. That was effectively the end of the band.
Okay.
Tuesday, the following Tuesday, we were at work, and I was having an issue with CVS source control. And I asked Michael, what about this, and how does this work, or whatever. And he started getting really arrogant and condescending and bullying. And help me to help you, and just out of the blue. And I stood back and like, what's going on? Why are you like this?
And
he kept
trying. Your homie. Like, this isn't just your work pal. I mean, this is like a good friend. I mean, you're in a band. Like, this is really weird behavior.
I'd known him for 4 years.
Gotcha.
Really weird behavior, and he kept trying it on, and I diffused the situation. He went back to his desk, and he was visibly shaking. It was obvious that he was stressed out from what he had just done.
Okay.
And we talked about it afterwards, and he apologized for it, and it's like, okay, fair enough, we'll move on. And he did it again. Then he did it again and again. I kept trying to talk to him. What have I done to piss you off or whatever? And oh, nothing. You and Karen should come around for dinner. And then he'd do it again and again and again and again. And that continued for the rest of the time that I was working. Kept trying to provoke me, kept trying to push me around and bully me. And I got to the point where I just would avoid him as much as possible. Just put my head down and get to work.
Okay.
And it really hurt. And someone I considered a friend. But it made no sense. It's about the band. It happened around the band. Michael quits the band and he does this. But why would he do that?
What did the rest of your band members think?
Well, I tried to talk to the guitarist about it. I talked to him a handful of times while this was happening. And this was after I'd tried to talk to Mike and resolve it, and it wouldn't be resolved. And Christoph turned around and implicitly said that I was bad-mouthing Michael for quitting the band. And in high school, I had progressed beyond being so petty. And at this point, I'd been a Christ for 4 years. I was so far beyond behaving in such a manner, and it effectively ended the friendship. So I've lost 2 friends by this point.
Wait, so the guitarist thought that you, just by asking, like, if you had noticed anything, or like, or just trying to talk about it, he thought you were bad-mouthing him.
Yeah, I was telling him the situation, what Michael was doing, and how it didn't make any sense. And he turned around and said, you're being an ass because Michael quit the band and you're being shitty about it. And, that wasn't it at all.
Why do you think that he did that?
It's what it looked like. And in hindsight, that's what Michael was trying to do. He was trying to make it look like I was being petty about him quitting the band. I don't rise to such bait. I wasn't upset with him about quitting or anything. I respected his decision.
You were just curious.
So
why my buddy from 4 years had just quit this and started acting like an asshole to me.
Exactly.
Very strange. Okay. Alright, so Guitarist said that he implied that you were bad-mouthing Michael. That friendship ended as well. Okay.
Yes.
Strange.
So I've lost 2 at this point.
Okay.
And that was the rest of the time at my work there. At the end of the last few days, I was talking with some other guys at work, and one of them says, "Did you hear? Michael just bought a house in Sydney." And this was 2003 prices, so it would have been high 6 figures.
Sure.
He hadn't told anybody. He'd filled out forms in HR or something, and the rumor got around from there.
Okay, but he didn't tell anybody else in the office besides HR.
Exactly.
What? Okay.
Made this huge purchase, and he kept it to himself.
Strange. All right.
It heavily correlates with what was happening. So anyways, end of the year, 2003, I move up to Brisbane. And I think it was December. I was out in the back porch, and I had a glass of Lagavulin, and I was just thinking about it, and the band, what about the band? What the hell? And then I remembered at my birthday when he offered me the job, and underlining no more money to be had, and then getting the raise. And I forgot to mention an important point. I met the boss shortly after I got the raise, and the boss was a huge dick to me. Didn't know why. I never found out why, but he really treated me shitty.
So why? So hear me out. I gotta get this timeline a little more straight in my head. So you're hanging out with your buddy in a band. He says, "Hey man, I just got a new job. I can offer you this new job. And it's for $55 an hour. 55 an hour. 55 an hour. Only 55 an hour. Okay?" And you say, "Great." So then some amount of time elapses, right? And your buddy comes to you and he says, "Hey, guess what? Not only is it 55, I actually got you for 60. Awesome." And then, hold on, hear me out. And then you meet the boss after you find out that you've already gotten this raise for 60?
Yes, so I'm expecting the boss to be
cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's a huge dick. Didn't make any sense.
What, I would do a lot for $55 an hour. Or 60 an hour. Like, are you just kind of looking past a lot of these red flags? Just because, I mean...
At the point where the boss was being a dick to me, I had no idea. Everything else was going great. I had a good job. I was in a band. I was writing music. I had friends.
Strange.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. So we'll get back to current time. I got you.
So in December, I'm thinking about this, and then I remember the start of it. And it was then that I realized Michael had set me up from the very start, from offering me the job, and had probably planned on quitting the band after a period of time. And that was the first time that it was, fuck, what the hell's going on? Now, this wasn't the only thing that exploded at the end of 2003.
Hear me out. Hold on. What do you mean he set you up? Is it because you took his job? Or what do you mean?
He he offered me the job with the intention of doing what he did.
So he was kind of like prepping you for taking over after he left.
What do you mean by that?
Like, well, you know, like when you get a promotion, and let's say you get hired for another company, right? But you really like the company that you work for. You might make an agreement like, hey, I'll train someone that knows everything. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you a whole month's notice before I quit, so that I can train another guy to do exactly what I do before I leave. You know what I mean? Like, just to be nice to the current place you work. I'm not saying that he did that, but you know, similarly, like, do you think he was training you to be his replacement, essentially?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding then. So what do you mean by he set you up then? He set you up for what? What's the end goal? I'm just confused.
That'll become apparent later on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I won't jump ahead then. Fair enough. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm suspecting a plot. I've got a target on me. And like I said, this wasn't the only thing that happened. There was like 5 different things that all exploded at the end of 2003.
Hold on.
I'll go through another.
I gotta have you clarify this. Because the thing is that you're saying you're sitting here on your porch and you're drinking a glass of Lagavulin. Classic. Alright? Great drink. And you're sitting here and you're having these kind of like revelations about all this stuff and about him setting you up and how like he must, you know what, that's probably why he quit the band and he was being a dick, because he knew that he was going to move away from us and not see us or do any of this stuff, blah 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 blah.
No, it's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, kind of implied it with the purchase of the house. Houses were expensive. I think he was financially motivated to do what he did.
I'm going to let you continue the story and I'm going to shut up. Okay.
So this wasn't the only thing that happened around this time.
Okay.
And I'm going to back up to 2001. Another setup from a distance. At the time, my ex and I were hosting some house guests from the UK. I worked in the UK for almost 3 years. And Kevin, I'll omit his last name, he was staying with us with his then girlfriend. And another guy from the UK, Heath Mountford. Don't know if you want to write that down.
Why are you not putting Kevin's last name, but you're putting Heath Mountford's name in here?
Heath is more applicable, and I don't want to point too many fingers at Kevin because he's not involved.
Okay. Heath Mountford, I wrote it down.
Yep. His sister Becky had married a guy in Australia called Adam Williams. Adam Williams had been a semi-pro rugby player, played for Australia overseas, and at the time I met him, he was driving trucks for a living. A jock mentality. Different from me. I'm nerdy engineer type. I think I met him briefly, and chalk and cheese. And anyways, my ex and I were waiting for Kevin and his girlfriend to finish up with Heath and the sister and Adam. Adam comes up to the car and says, "Hey, Burt, you want to smoke a joint?" Well, twist my arm. That was the beginning of a friendship.
Okay.
For 2 years. Adam would go out of his way to be super cool, invite me to things, and they'd come around to our place for dinner, and we'd go around to theirs for dinner, or parties and pub crawls, and et cetera, et cetera.
You guys were homies.
We were homies. Weren't super close, but Adam always put in an extra effort to engage me in conversation or include me in things or call me out of the blue or whatever. But his friendship didn't feel entirely genuine. There was a couple of instances where got short with me and tried to hide it, and small things that I'd note, but then he'd be really cool, and it's like, oh, well, maybe I misunderstood. So anyways, 2 years go by. This is the end of 2003. I'm winding up in Sydney at my job. And I've lost two friends by this point, and one of them is actively trying to provoke me at work. I'm staying at a hotel. Uh, uh, my ex and I had moved out of our place in the northern beaches, and she had gone to Brisbane already, and I was just doing my last days at this job.
Did you get a new
Adam
job?
calls me. Sorry?
Did you get a new job? Is that why you moved to Brisbane?
I wanted to move to Brisbane, away from Sydney, primarily to be able to afford property and
Yeah.
be close to Nimbin and that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
But this would have been October, November of 2003. I'm at the hotel, and Adam calls me out of the blue. And he's chatty and friendly, and what he up to, and I explain my situation, and he says, "Oh, why don't you come and stay at my place?" So, nice offer. And the problem was that he was way out west in Sydney, and the commute would have been a real bitch. Would have added, a couple of hours in public transport. So it wasn't really practical. So I politely turned it down, but thanked him profusely for the offer and much appreciated. And got off the phone. After losing two friends, it was nice to know that I still had a friend that was on my side. The next time I spoke with him was after I went to, I'd done the move to Brisbane, and I don't think I'd put together yet that Michael had set me up from the start of the job offer. So I'm still trying to figure out what the hell had just happened. And I'll give Adam a call, hear a friendly voice. So I call the guy. Didn't want to talk to me. Didn't want to hear what I had to say. Didn't offer anything in return. Was almost to the point of being rude. The call didn't last more than a couple of minutes, and that was it. Never heard from him again. Completely blew me off. Still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just listening. Really? Why do you think?
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
Well, as part of the setup for gang stalking, this is what I learned many years later. The target is investigated for an extended period of time, a year and a half, 2 years in advance, where habits and weaknesses are ascertained and are used against the target once the gang stalking commences. And that's what I think happened with that.
So
And
you think?
Adam's. Sorry, go ahead.
You think this? Do you think that Adam and Michael were hired to prep you for a couple of years so that you could be gang stalked afterwards, or like get info on you?
That's exactly what I'm asserting. I think Adam's behavior would be entirely explained if he was being paid to be my friend. Dog just jumped up on my Jeep.
Okay.
So
Give me 2 seconds here, just to kind of parse this out a little.
So that happened. That kicked me while I was down.
How did you originally meet Adam? Or Michael, excuse me.
At work, in a job in Sydney. He started working at the same company I was working at. I had been working at for about a year.
But then you quit working there.
We all went our separate ways, and then 4 years later, we were in the band.
But you guys all still hung out. Like you guys all worked at a company, and then you became friends, and then y'all split your ways from the company, but you guys were still hanging out, and you were in the band, and then Michael was like,
Yeah, we kept in touch, and we weren't super close or anything. The guitarist and I were probably the two closest people, but we would get together a couple times a year and have a chat at the pub or whatever. So that happened at the end of 2003.
Okay. I guess let's continue the story. I don't know if I have any more questions.
There was a number of other things that happened around that time. I won't bother getting into it, but all these things happening, exploding around 2003, personal tragedy type of things, and really spun me out. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But um, uh, two of the things were pointing back towards my time in the UK. One of the things, if I've made an identification correctly, pointed back to my very first seconds as a backpacker in Australia in 1990. So I'm trying to process this, and I can't even grasp it. It's like, no, this cannot be the way that this is. This must be something else. And I chose to treat it as if it all happened in Sydney. I'm in Brisbane now. Put it behind me and move on. That did not happen at all. My very next job, everyone was in on the bullying. It was extreme. I didn't notice it for the first few weeks, as I'd been hired as a technical lead. I was supposed to provide direction to a group of people, and we were supposed to make technical decisions on the next project.
Okay, hold on. Before we continue, let me just try and extrapolate something here. So this happened. You've been experiencing gang stalking for almost like 20 years, for 19 years since 2003.
Correct.
All right. So you think that the reason that this, okay, do you think that the reason why you're being gang stalked is because you are enlightened?
That's what I thought at the time.
Okay, hold on. So what do you think now, out of curiosity?
Oh, we're jumping ahead. We'll get there.
I just need a little. I need a little more. I'm getting lost a little bit, I guess. I'm getting lost in the sauce, and I feel like it would help me personally if I could see maybe where we end up, I guess.
I'll give you the high-level view rather than getting into the details. I had two instances of workplace bullying. One in Sydney, one in Brisbane, plus a whole bunch of other things happening at the same time.
And what were the other things?
Sorry?
And what were the other things, like tweet-sized detail?
That was, and there was a couple of other instances that spun me out that something is big and something is happening and something is going on, and I cannot possibly understand what's happening. So those two workplace bullying instances were used to soften me up so the community stalking would have maximum effect.
And to get info on you.
To get, they had acquired the info in the years prior, and they were using that information against me at this point.
And what were they, so how was the gang stalking phenomenon, I guess, manifesting? So like what we've described so far is like, I guess, how they set you up, right?
Yeah, and this was people close to me. This was people that I knew. So this wasn't typical gang stalking yet. This was the pre-gang stalking, softening me up, getting me prepared for what was coming.
Okay.
The actual community gang stalking began probably mid-2004 while I was at this second job. So now randos in public are being weird to me, and it's probably the best way to describe it.
Okay, hold on. We'll stop you there. Randos in public are being weird to you. So we got kind of like street theater kind of style stuff, kind of? Like people are coming up to you and saying weird things, or?
It was mostly shop attendants.
Okay.
And being weird to me is probably the best way of putting it. At this point, just that is not distinguishable from mental illness. Somebody's looking at me weird or treating me weird. There's nothing really specific that I can say, but there was an awareness of who I was, and the way they were treating me was not normal. And it was as if they were letting me know that they knew what was going on, or they were aware of something.
Do you have one example? Like, just, I'm not trying to put you on the spot too hard, but like, give me an example.
Yeah, at this point, I don't have examples.
Well, like
This is
like a shop attendant. Like what? I put me in your shoes. What is happening where you're like, oh fuck, this person is for sure like they're in on it.
Well, the first ones that did this to me, there's nothing that I can really remember or say. It was just them being weird to me. Later on, a shop attendant would use my full name at me. Someone I'd never met before, had no interaction with before, but they knew who I was.
Okay.
Like, how do
That's
you
fair.
know who
That's a weird one.
So by this is early on.
Okay.
And the actual community stalking at this point was very sporadic. Maybe one or two instances every couple of months. But I had the damage from the two workplace bullying instances, and that was sufficient to maintain the wound. I wasn't being able to heal from the damage that had been inflicted on me.
Sure. I mean, you were sensitive.
And I was getting, paranoid and what's going on and trying to understand it. There is one instance that happened at my second job in Brisbane. Excuse me. I'd been there for 3 months, and I was hosting a meeting, and we were discussing some technical issues. My mobile phone goes off. I look at the number, and it's the number from my previous job, the exchange number, where I had the second round of bullying. And they had no reason to call me. I'd been sidelined, I'd been demoted, and then made redundant. It was really bad.
This was at the job that Michael got you?
This was from the second job in Brisbane.
Got you. What happened there? Why did that happen? How did that all go down?
Well, I think I mentioned that they were all in on it. All the people that I was supposed to be in charge of were excluding me. I was being not invited to meetings. I wasn't being told information. There was one instance that I'll tell you about that was probably my only win at that company. There's one guy. His name was Adam. He was a red-haired guy. Excuse me. Really arrogant. Loved the sound of his own voice, and he was just toying. He was playing with me. He wouldn't give me a straight answer on anything. And we were talking about this one technical thing. I can't remember the details. It was internet related, but if it was not included, it would have crippled the application. So I'm trying to understand what the approach that they were taking that was completely without me and without discussing with me or keeping me in the loop. They wouldn't say that it had it or not. And I was trying to make the point that, we need to do this. And he was screwing with me for 20, 30 minutes. But then he let too much slip. I was like, wait a minute. That's true. Then we don't have to do it my way. We can do it your way. And he just stopped. His whole demeanor dropped right to the floor. He didn't say another word. He lost the power of speech. He walked back to his desk. I looked over at him a few minutes later, and he had his head in his hands. He couldn't hide it. He'd blown it. What it was, I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm confused. What do you mean?
He was screwing with me.
I understand. Well, he was screwing with you. He was messing around with you. And then you guys had a conversation, and then you realize that if what he says is true, then that means that we don't have to do it your way. But then he has a breakdown afterwards.
He was devastated.
He was devastated that he was right? Because he ended up being right? Like, you ended up being wrong.
that really wasn't the point.
I'm just very confused. That's all I'm trying to get at. I'm looking.
Yeah. They were trying to do something with me. What that something is, I don't know. But it included keeping information from me and getting me to make assertions that weren't applicable. What I was saying was not valid because it was already covered by the way that they were doing it. And they knew that. This wasn't and we weren't trying to resolve an issue here. They had already known that that issue was resolved, and they were hiding that from me. And
Oh, I'm seeing what you're saying. There was a problem. They had already fixed it. They didn't want to reveal to you that they had already fixed it. For some reason.
there was a solution for what we were doing, and it had already been covered. And I was
Gotcha.
making the point, we have to do this thing because, and this was to do with the spring framework. This was new technology at the time.
Gotcha. But you wouldn't even have made the suggestion had they just communicated with you properly and told you what was going on anyways. Is basically what you're trying to say.
They were deliberately withholding that information and screwing with me on purpose and to do something.
And that
And
led to
Adam-
demotion and your firing?
They couldn't fire me outright because I hadn't done anything, but I was sidelined. I wasn't given any tasks to do anything important, and none of my work mattered, and I was
understand.
demoted. And you know, their treatment of me was unprofessional. It was terrible. This was an order of magnitude worse than what I had just been through in Sydney.
Okay.
So
after this
I
place.
treated it as if it was a separate issue, but I knew all the whole time that it was completely related. And it wasn't until afterwards that I'm trying to process it all, that what the hell is happening? Why is all this shit going on? And by the end of that job, the community stalking had started and blowing up. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck?
Okay. Now where are we?
First few years, very sporadic community stalking. If you want to get into the real gang stalking when it got severe, that would have been in 2010 through 2016, 2017.
Well, so in 2005, it was just regular old community stalking, like people looking at you weird, stuff like that, right?
Nothing overt, nothing specific. I saw lawyers, I saw private investigators, you know, trying to find some way of dealing with it. There was nothing they could do.
What did
I
they
had
say to you when you brought this up to them? Like, and what did you say to them? Like, you saw, you know, you called up a lawyer. What did you tell them?
We had a few meetings, and I'm telling them what happened at the work and what their behavior was, and nothing they could do. It
What
wasn't
did they say to
illegal.
you? Did they say, "This is weird, but there's nothing I can do"?
Essentially, yes.
So they agreed with you, but they said there's nothing they can do.
Exactly. And the same thing with a private investigator. They offered, oh, we could call him up and we could do this and that, but nothing that would have made any difference.
Because no one did
And
anything illegal. I mean,
exactly. Gang stalking exists in the twilight between legal and illegal. It's designed to break the spirit of the law without breaking the letter of the law.
so in 2010, you said that's when it picks up. It gets more severe.
Yeah. 3, 4, 5 times a day. I'll give you a typical day. This is shit that would happen to me on a daily basis for years. The night before, I'd get home and I'd find my place had been broken into. I had dogs, I had alarms, I had security cameras. Nothing mattered. They completely bypassed. They'd take scissors and cut holes in my clothing, or rip my shoes apart, or break things, or detune my bass guitar. Things that you couldn't call the police about. Help police, someone detune my bass guitar. So, You know that someone's been in there. You know that they've been fucking with your shit. But you have no legal recourse. There's nothing you can do about it. So you're spinning out about that for the evening. Next morning, I'd get up and I'd go to the Jeep, and my tire on my Jeep would be partially deflated, the same tire. That happened for a period of years, the same tire being half deflated every morning. And I'd have to stop at the garage and pump it up. That same tire, after this period of time, held its charge completely fine. The tire itself did not have a leak. It was someone would get on my property every night, deflate it a little bit. And so the tread was wearing unevenly, and it was just one more shitty thing I'd have to deal with every day. And then I'd get to the city and I'd park my car. And while I'm walking to work, someone would walk straight at me and force me to change direction, or they'd give me a shoulder bump as I walk by them. So I get to work. And sometimes the guys at work would throw hints. Sometimes they'd make insinuations, and I'd just ignore it and try to get on with the job. At lunchtime, I'd go out. While I'm walking around, some guy with a camera around his neck would make sure I was looking at him. Then he'd raise it up to his eye and point it at me and hold it there for a number of seconds. Tick tock, tick tock. Then he'd put it down and he'd walk away without taking a picture. The end of the day, I'd go to get into my vehicle. Someone else would cut in front of me and make me change direction. I'd get home, sit down, make dinner, and some hoons with modified cars would leave them running and idling for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. A low bass rumble, about 40, 50 hertz. Just annoying the hell out of me. That pretty much summarizes a typical day in that period of time for me. And this went on for a period of years. Now, each one of those things, someone cutting in front of you or your tire being deflated once or whatever, is nothing. You'd forget about it. But this is happening, like I was saying, 3, 4, 5 times a day, every day for years. The effect, the cumulative effect, was devastating. It would have been more humane to have killed me in 2003 than to put me through what I was put through. Incarceration for 20 years would have been preferable. That kind of treatment was, it's among the worst kind of thing that could be done to a human being, bar none. Still there?
Yeah, expect silence from me sometimes, you know. It happens, you know. I try to think before I speak, you know.
Not a word. It's a lot to process, I understand. I've had 20 years of assimilation of this. And I'm trying to explain 20 years of hell in a few minutes.
I appreciate it. Yeah. By the way, I am gonna have a hard out at probably 4:15, which is in about a half hour. So, just FYI. Just because I thought we were doing this earlier. That's not a big deal. That was my fault. I can't calculate Australian time properly.
Not a worry.
Okay. So, 2010, this thing that you just described to me, it goes on for years. So I guess what's the next big highlight?
Well, the next big highlight really was the end of my gang stalking blogs that you read yesterday.
So we're caught up to the blogs now.
We're caught up to the blogs at this point.
Amazing. And this is just to save you time and me time. Because, you know, your blogs are so eloquently written, you know, and they're so, I don't know what to say.
Thank you.
They're very concise, and they're pretty perfect, you know, pretty good summation of your experience. Is there anything that you think that you need to say to add on to what you've already written? that would be useful to me, or can I just use whatever you've already written to kind of know like where you're at right now? Because I feel like I have more questions here for what you've just said to me now. You know what I mean? If the stuff that you've already written is pretty solid, I'd rather not go over it too much. I'd rather just read it myself and kind of break it apart, you know?
Exactly right. Yes.
And then maybe I can even have you on and we can discuss that part of your life. But if you're down, I would kind of like to probably spend the rest of the time getting into what we've just talked about. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me questions.
Okay. So, the reason why you think this is happening to you, or happened to you specifically, is because of like your enlightenment thing that happened.
I think it's actually more than that.
Okay.
That's a part of it.
Okay.
There is an assumption that if I make sense of everything that has happened to me in my 53 years of life, all the gang stalking, all the weirdness, everything that happened to me as a kid, everything makes sense.
Okay.
Have you ever read the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail?
I have not. What's that about?
You're online now, yeah?
I am. I could just Google it. I'm sorry. Save the trouble.
Yep.
What's it called? Again?
Holy Blood, Holy Grail.
Alright.
I first read
the Holy Grail.
I first read this book in 2001. So this was a couple of years after my gnosis.
Okay.
And it's like, wow, yeah, a bloodline from Jesus and Mary Magdalene carrying on to modern day. And I was like, wow, yeah, I'm a Christ now. Maybe, wouldn't it be cool if I was related to Jesus? Like, nah, bullshit, wishful thinking, forget about it.
Okay.
If it's not bullshit, then that makes sense of everything that I've experienced across my entire life. I don't know if you read on the Gang Stalking Australia blog, Discord server, Farmer Burt.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. I'll try and get an audio book of this and try to give it a try. Try and get a paperback. So this is about Gnosticism.
Indirectly, it's about Jesus actually not being crucified but escaping with Mary Magdalene, and them doing the nasty and making babies, and the bloodline continuing on to the present day. I think part of what I experienced with my gnosis is there's a genetic component to it. I was predisposed to enlightenment.
Whoa.
Where that came from isn't really relevant. If I am in fact related to Jesus Christ, it was gonna piss me off to no end. I'm gonna be so fucked off with that.
Bert, I have a question. Someone on the thing wants actually to come on the Discord and ask you a question. Is that okay?
Not a problem.
All right, so we're gonna join the gang stalking voice chat, okay, on the Discord, on my Discord. So I'm gonna end this call, okay?
Okay.
Just join that voice chat. I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Come on, Jeffrey, get in the chat. All right.
Hello. Hey, is this Will?
This is Will, currently.
Hey, Will. What's up? My name is Super Trucker, and I'm new to the targeted.
I'm Henry.
Holy moly,
guys.
This got big. Okay, hold on. I'm muting some of you. I'm sorry. Give me just one sec. Who was talking before?
My name is Super
All right,
Trucker.
you can stay unmuted.
Hello.
Give me one sec. Best regards. I'm gonna unmute you in a bit, and Sable, I can unmute you in a bit too. Okay. Just can't have too many homies
Yeah.
talking at the same time. Sorry.
I was listening to the discussion on YouTube and I found it quite interesting. So I thought I could maybe break the fourth wall and talk to Burton.
Yeah, go for it. He's here. And I asked him if he would be willing to talk to you, and he said it was cool. So.
Oh,
Hello,
good.
Burton. Hello, Burton. Can you hear me?
I can do.
Okay. So what I'm wondering is, because I'm not a targeted individual, and I don't know, I feel kind of like all these other people
Yeah, it's
are,
about to get spicy.
but I'm not. Is there
I'm down.
something I'm doing wrong, or am I not interesting enough? Like,
Dude, this is something you absolutely do not want to experience ever in your life.
are you sure? Because, dude, like, I don't know. I just feel really lonely, and like, I feel like it would be cool to have people kind of looking over me and watching my back.
That is not what it is at all. You're so far off base. It's one of the worst things that can happen to an individual. No one should be subjected to this. It is cruel and unusual.
Right.
It is fucking terrible.
Okay, so I don't want this. Like, this is bad.
Extremely bad.
Because I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, I try to do stuff, and I'm like, I'll go out and I'll think, hey, is that guy following me? But then he turns and he's not following me. And like, is there a way that I could maybe? It just sounds so exciting. It's like you're living in like a movie, you know?
No one would want this in their right mind.
Super
And
Trucker.
I question.
Trucker, we understand. We understand the troll here. Like I get it.
No, I'm not. There's no troll. I'm genuinely curious about this.
Well, here's what I'm gonna ask you. I'm not stupid. I understand I understand the way that you're framing the question. I mean, is of attempted good faith in a way. Could we just kind of lose the, just ask what you're actually trying to ask,
Well, that was my question. I'm sorry if I miscommunicated or if I upset you somehow for.
No, it's not like that. It's
I
more,
mean, dude, I'm sorry. I just
No, it's not like that. I'm just trying to say that,
like I'm nervous. Like I've never been on a show like this before, and I just get really nervous. And I'm sorry if I came across like weird or something. I'm just trying to ask a question.
Gang stalking is a program that is implemented to be able to eliminate anyone for any reason without any recourse. It's designed to destroy lives. This is not something that is desirable by any means.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just didn't really understand how serious it was. I apologize.
No worries.
I'm gonna leave the voice chat out of respect, and I will continue to watch the broadcast.
Holy moly! I'm gonna say, hold on, really quick before you go.
Well, yeah.
If this wasn't a troll, I'm gonna apologize too. For not.
It's not a troll, dude.
I'm sympathetic enough. If this
it's
isn't
okay.
a troll.
No, it's not. And we're all here trying to learn. I'm opening my mind up to all kinds of new things on the internet lately. So I'm sorry if I came across in an untoward way.
Totally fine. Thank you for your question, Super Trucker. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Best regards. Unmuted. Do you have something you'd like to ask, Burt?
I thought you were ending the stream, and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on some quality discourse. So I don't know about that Super Trucker guy. He's on something else. That was definitely a troll.
Yeah, of course. Is it? You want to know something weird though? My man, is just that I've come across enough interesting characters on the internet to also possibly accept the possibility that maybe somebody could actually theoretically not have enough social skills that maybe they would come on and actually ask a question like that. You know what I mean? Like there might actually be people on the internet that are so lonely that they would rather get viciously tortured than be so lonely.
I don't know. Maybe like he grew up eating fucking asbestos Cheerios or something. Like he just didn't develop properly.
Well, I'm not gonna make any kind of moral judgment, and I don't think you should either. Best regards. Do you have any kind of question?
Well,
or
I
something
think
you'd
I
like to-
should. You don't tell me what to do, Buster.
Hello there.
Alrighty. Well, we tried, Burt. We tried.
So, anyways, what I was saying, before we were interrupted by silliness.
One troll, at least. Just one troll. I think the other guy was more genuine, but
Yeah, no biggie.
you know,
but yeah,
Bert, we have to wade through the pool of shit before we get to the actual gold of the conversation. You know what I mean?
So, do you have any questions from what I've said?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about some stuff here. Let me put this in the right window so that I can give me a sec. Let me make sure I'm not gonna reveal anything on my screen here. Cool. Boom. Okay. Here's a question. I want to ask you the non-troll version of this question. Okay. Why is it that you think they pick certain people to be targeted individuals? Because in all honesty, I think it's a good question. He was just kind of being an asshole about it. All right, hold on. Okay. Answer the question, Bert.
Yep. I answer this in my blogs as well. The program is implemented to be able to neutralize any threat to the status quo.
Why
people
were you a
are
threat
target.
to the status quo?
Well, if my one assumption is true, if there's any validity to it, if I am in fact a direct descendant of Jesus, then my very existence is a threat to the institutions and religions that base their theology on Jesus being a magic man and never having sex and ascending to heaven and coming back in 2,000 years, etc., etc. It undermines the entire power structure.
Okay, so let me extrapolate this a little bit more then. So why do you think other people are being gang stalked?
For any reason, any threat that they pose.
Is it the same
Those
people
are
that are
the
gang stalking you because you have the blood of Christ in you? That are the same people that are gang stalking like random people?
My situation is my situation. I've been targeted for a specific reason. That reason could be someone knows too much, has worked for a government institution.
Right.
You know, I don't know for what reason genuine TIs who are of threat or of consequence get targeted. That would be decided by whoever is implementing this program. Now, other TIs that get targeted who aren't direct threats, and they come up with their own explanations for why they've been targeted. Oh, I was on the dark web and I was into conspiracy theories and now I know stuff, so that must be why I'm targeted. Invest the time, the energy, the money into gang stalking someone who's got alternative views and went on the dark web.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Don't mind the pun. How do you know that you're a descendant of Jesus? And like I'm playing devil's advocate here, just like you understand that just
yeah,
people are gonna make that like the exact same argument that you're making right now, like they're gonna make it against you for the exact same reason.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the reason.
Got you. It's just a theory.
Yeah, it's a complete theory. It makes everything make sense from my childhood through to today. All the weirdness. When we started talking, I told you Michael Doughton looked at me with awe.
Okay.
Why would, there's no reason. I just met the guy. What was I to him that he would look at me with awe? Completely explained if he knew that I was a descendant of Jesus.
All right, let me parse something else out here, I guess. So in your blogs, because I went through a bunch of them yesterday, right? Like there's one where you talk about your enlightenment, right? And then there's this whole there's one where you're like I sound like a cult leader. I sound like a blah blah blah. Like you say something to this nature. You sound like someone that has a god complex.
But they join my cult.
Well, it just like for it's kind of weird for someone to be like I might have the blood of Jesus. It's a possibility. It explains everything. You know what I mean? It's a little strange.
Yeah, you'll have to read my Farmer Burt post in the Gang Stalking Australia Discord server.
Pierre Streams writes, well, the Jews are descendants of Abraham. Also, Jesus was against nepotism of all forms. Okay. True. I mean, I get, when they say something like, what, a third or a quarter of the population's related to Genghis Khan or something, like, I guess theoretically, back in time, like, it's possible, right?
Exactly. I don't know. It explains everything if it's true, but I'm not asserting that it is true. I strongly reject your God complex assertion. That's not true. What I understood at my gnosis is that it's all God. You're God. I'm God. This Jeep I'm in right now is God.
So that makes it so the gang stalkers would target anybody. It doesn't really make you any more or less important than any other person, right?
Exactly right. I'm not special in that sense. I've got a title of Christ, like a black belt for a martial artist. It's a spiritual black belt. That's
so. I guess what I'm asking is like, so are you saying that if other humans on the planet get the spiritual black belt in godliness, I guess, like you could become a targeted individual as well? But if you don't have that black belt, perhaps you're less likely to become a targeted individual.
I can't answer that definitively.
Right.
I can't say yes, no. No, I don't know. It depends on if that person would pose a threat. If they were capable of overturning the apple cart. If I am a direct descendant of Jesus, then my very existence is dismantling the lies that are being used to control billions of people. There are 2.38 billion Christians in the world. And as part of the efforts that were expended against me, you read this yesterday, the Christianity equation.
So the reason why you're a super high target individual is because you, if you actually do have the blood of Christ, you single-handedly like rewrite basically 2,000 years of Christianity.
My existence.
Your existence
exactly
would necessitate the rewriting of 2,000 years of Christianity to be accurate.
It would invalidate all the lies. It would invalidate power structures. People would lose their jobs. People would become disillusioned.
Could you understand how that's kind of a God complex? That's kind of it. I mean, I'm not saying you have one, but that's kind of a God complex.
That's an objective analysis of the situation. That's exactly what would happen. Now, I'm not exaggerating.
Okay. All right. Let me move off that quickly. Don't you think that it's possible that some of these Burt, if I didn't know you, if I didn't have all of this internet discourse with you, I'm biased. At this point, I've become biased. I'm not gonna lie. I've become biased a little bit. God, I hate to do this. But I have to ask. I have to go down this path. Like, if you were someone that I had just met, okay, just a random person that I had just met today, and you started explaining all of this story to me, like my initial impression is that like your personality changed at some point in time during this thing, and like people stopped fucking with you for some reason. Like they just didn't like your personality change, and then you lost friends, and then it really affected like your mental health, because that literally that fucks up anybody's mental health. Like just like mentally, not like it made you psychotic. It just makes people depressed. You know, when your fucking friends go away. Like I had an extremely good friend that like, you know, it was almost like he broke up with me, like a girlfriend, and it was brutal. It really fucking hurt me for like 2 years almost straight. Like I thought about it all the time. Like, you know, and like, you know, this, you know, you one job, something happens, and then you go on to the next job, and then the next job, like, they don't fuck with you either. Like, here's what I'm gonna say. There's a pattern, like, of stuff that goes on through here that, to someone who isn't super involved in the TI community, and someone who doesn't really know who you are and hasn't seen how eloquent, like, your writing is, and how, I mean, you seem to me to be a fairly cordial and nice person, they might just think you're an asshole, and that's why these people left. And you might just, like, you know, be like paranoid, you know? What's something you can,
that's a very
like, what is it you can give me to kind of prove like that? Maybe you can't, you know, and I'm not gonna think you're an asshole if you can't prove it, you know, because you've been very nice to me. I think you've been fairly open with this whole thing, you know. Prove my audience. Is there some way that you can prove my audience that everything that you've explained isn't just some kind of like mundane aspect of life, you know? Like you know, you knew a famous person, and then he liked you and hung out with you for a while, but then something happened and he didn't fuck with you anymore. Like maybe he got into financial trouble, maybe he heard some bullshit, you know what I mean? Like I could think of a million reasonable explanations for some of this stuff happening. Can you give me some explanations as to why my reasonable explanations are bad, other than you might have the blood of Christ? Or is that really like just kind of the end all be all for this, you know?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'd point at my blog, my deconversion from Christianity.
Okay.
I appreciate your analysis of me. I think you're pretty accurate. The assumptions you would make if you didn't know me at all, I think are entirely valid. And I think it's one of the ways that gang stalking is hidden, because anyone coming forward with this kind of information, your first assumption is going to be, oh, well, he brought it on himself, or he's mentally unstable, or, you know, 100 other more reasonable explanations about something that sounds fantastical. But that blog, it explains my time as a young Christian. I put a lot of effort into myself into becoming more like Christ, undoing all the damage that had been caused to me, and placing others ahead of myself, and learning to see through the eyes of others and walking in their shoes and all of that. So, you know, I like to think I'm a nice guy. I work pretty hard at being a nice guy. It's something that I devoted many years towards. I don't think I'm an asshole. I don't think I'm not a liar. I don't seek attention. I'm not trying to shine a spotlight on me. I'm trying to shine a spotlight on this goddamn program that's being used to destroy lives. Mine just happens to be one life that's been destroyed by it.
Well, all right, Bert. I have a lot of thinking I need to do. I'm gonna go peel through your link tree again, probably on and off stream. This gang stalking shit consumes my life, and yeah, I think we'll have to get back. We're gonna have another conversation here, okay? Just guaranteed, because I don't feel satiated. I don't feel satisfied enough with this conversation, and I need more time, but I don't have more time, and that's kind of the real bummer of it. So how about you and me get together, and we'll schedule another time to go have another talk. Is that cool?
That sounds cool. What you can do, if you're on Facebook, I don't know if you're on Facebook, go to the Gang Stalking Australia group. I've detailed much more about my experience as a targeted individual. You'll be able to go through my previous posts. And there's that post on the Discord server. Check that out. That explains my early years and what could be going on.
Sounds
the
good.
blogs. Do that on your own time, and then we can have a chat later when you've gone through all that.
I'm down. Thank you, Burt. I appreciate you. Super Trucker, don't go anywhere. I'm going to talk to you right now. Bye, Burt.
Catch you later.
Have a great day, buddy. How do I move you? How do I do that? Burt, I want to move you to a different... There we go.
Hello?
What's up, Super Trucker?
Hello? Hey, what's up, man?
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm just hanging in there. I got...
Right. So I as an outsider listening to that discussion with Burt,
what's your opinion?
I was struck by several things. I feel like, because I need to read more into his website, but I felt like a lot of what he was talking about maybe was a little bit too readily dismissed.
Explain.
Well, I just felt like he was constantly having to justify things that he had already explained, and it just seemed like he was under attack sometimes, from all angles.
Oh, from me?
Well, it just seemed like you were trying to poke all these holes in his story, but he seemed very genuine in his tale, and I don't know. To me, it seemed like a man haunted by demons that maybe you and I can't imagine.
Yeah. I agree with you. Do you understand, though, just kind of like having to go through this from like a, like a journalistic perspective? Like, I just kind of have to, I got to vet it a little harder, Like,
I understand.
I mean, you were listening to it the whole time. I mean, I had a really hard time grilling him at the end.
Well, and because to me, he sounded pretty airtight. I mean, he has a lot of sources for all his claims. He's got, he's got a ton of evidence. If you look at his website, I mean, he's just got. And if you look in the Gang Stalking Australia website or Facebook group, there is so much in there. You reach a certain juncture where it really becomes hard to ignore what's happening, and you're really ignoring reality past a certain point.
Yes,
and
I agree.
So that's right. So I feel like someone like Burton, who's already established that he's legit and he's definitely a man of honor and integrity, maybe he should be given a little more grace. That's all I'm saying. But look, hey, it's your show. I'm just a guy here. I'm trying to be respectful.
No,
so, and then also another thing that kind of hurt my feelings is that when I left, you likened my contribution to the conversation as a pool of shit. That's what you said.
I likened it to a pool of shit.
Yeah, you said, as soon as I left, you said, we got to wade through the shit to get to the good stuff sometimes. And it's like, what the heck? I mean, that makes me feel kind of bad. Like,
here's what I would say. You're obviously familiar with the gang stalking subreddit.
A little bit.
Would you
I try not to use Reddit because I think Reddit is part of the phenomenon in some way. But
yeah, some phenomenon, that's for sure. Some phenomenon of just people just being terminally online,
just like
myself
bad
included.
People.
Oh, bad people too. I mean, it's a cesspit. You can do some pretty horrible things behind the scenes on Reddit.
Yeah, I get really nervous when people I know, they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw this thing on Reddit," and then to me, it's a red flag for social interaction.
Really?
Well, to me, I kind of put my guard up because there are some okay people that use Reddit, but boy, are there a lot of bad folks that use it too.
Gotta stay away from Redditors, huh? Can't stand them.
Terrifying. Well, it's just scary. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just feel like because I'm new to this whole world of TIs, and you guys really got upset by my question, and I felt so stupid after I got left because I don't understand how this all works. So I was hoping
Here's why I would just say that I had to immediately rebuke you. Is just
Right.
because there are gang stalking is torture to these people.
right.
So basically, what your question is how can I be tortured, Burt? It sounds like fun. I know, I understand that perhaps that wasn't your intent, and if you're coming in complete good faith to this conversation right now, then I apologize
I am,
for not
of
interpreting your language that way. But I guess just to clarify for someone that's new, right?
Okay.
Just to,
No, I
you know,
appreciate. No,
we're all
thank you
about
for
good
explaining
grace,
that
right?
to me. I appreciate that, and that really does clear up the situation for me. Something I struggle with sometimes is clear communication. So having things laid out like this really does help. And thank you for that.
I feel so bad. This makes me feel really bad. You have to understand too, just in the world of the internet, everybody's constantly trying to get you.
Yeah.
There's 9 trolls for every
There's
one
some
legitimate
yeah,
person. Okay, so
that's so true.
so yeah, and I appreciate your feedback. By the way, I
Okay.
do understand the it is a bit harsh, you know. It is a bit
Well,
mean, kind of like
you
coming up to somebody and being like, "Hey, I've kind of built this relationship with you for like 2 weeks, and you know, we've been messaging and doing all this back and forth and being so open with each other, and then I have to kind of address, you know, I
do you think
gotta poop on some of the stuff, you know."
do you think it might be appropriate to record like an apology video to Bert? Just like a real brief, like, "Hey, Bert."
No, I don't think I'll be making an apology video.
I know you came on the show. I'm real sorry.
I think he understands.
Um,
What about you? Are you gonna make an apology video for asking him if he could give you some of his torture?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. This whole world is really just it's just something, man. Just something.
Super Trucker, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on to the chat, and
You too, man.
I hope to have another conversation with you sometime. Okay.
Yes.
Super Trucker, everybody. Super Trucker. Super can't. This is the. By the way, Burt did not get kicked. I just asked him to leave because I wanted to talk to Super Trucker without anybody else there. Gang, that was the end of the stream. I'm 20 minutes too late. My girlfriend is gonna kick my ass. You guys have a lovely rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, he's in the private. Hey, Burt, are you still connected? Burt? Burt?
I guess I am.
I'm sorry. Hey, I moved you to the chat, but I just wanted to let you know that like I'm leaving, okay? I'm sorry. I was trying to move you to a text chat, but I couldn't just move you to a text chat. So, someone was telling me that you were all alone in here, so I wanted to come and just make sure that you knew that our conversation was over.
Hello, you still there?
Hi. Hello.
There was major feedback. I had you on Twitch as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you so much for what do you call it? I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Not a worry. I heard about Super Trucker. I listened to the conversation. There's no apology necessary. I absolutely want you to question me hard. I want you to ask me the details. I want anything that you have any questions about to pose them to me. Do not be afraid of challenging me on this. I need this to be as open and as explicit as possible.
Burt, I really appreciate you, and I just want to say, you know, publicly, like I've really appreciated all of the conversation that we've had together, and yeah, I'm gonna keep peeling through this together. You know.
Awesome.
I appreciate you a lot, man.
Cheers. Ditto.
Thank you so much, Burt. Just have a great day, okay? Keep in touch, and I'll try to schedule something. I'm gonna schedule something after I go through your thing, and I have a couple interviews with some experts, so that maybe I can come at you with some interesting info. Cool?
Yeah, and if you want to interview me with those experts, by all means, let's do that.
Holy shit. That's actually a pretty sick idea. We might have to get that. Might be hard to do just because with the Australia and America time frame, but I'm honestly super down. I'll try to get that all set up. At least one of them. That'd be awesome. That's some content right there.
Totally be in on that.
All right, Bert. Well, you have a love the rest of your day, okay?
Yep, you too. Catch you later.
Peace, guys. Peace, Bert. And chat, thank you so much for hanging in there. I always appreciate your criticism. Seriously, you know, don't ever be afraid to tell me how shit I am, because I really do want to change and get better at this whole thing. I really don't think that I'm perfect, but I like to think that I'm at least getting better. Eh? So, have a great rest of your day, guys. Love each other, protect each other, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace. Like, follow, comment, subscribe.